Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I am John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. A good topic, one of my favorites. Let's do it. What conspiracy theory is plausible enough to be true? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Many corporations want to kill off hard copy media because they find it easier to censor and control the supply of electronic copies. People get scared when they think it's government doing the censorship, but it's a lot scarier, in my opinion, when corporations do it. There are too few media companies for there to be proper competition, and that industry is not a natural monopoly. Celebrities are not naming their kids crazy names. They're just not telling you their kids' real names. Small-scale conspiracy theory here. My wife and I are staying at a beach resort that provides complimentary boogie boards. The caveat is that you can only rent them when water conditions are clear, aka the red danger flags are not up. Both this year and last year, the flags were up the entire time during our stay, regardless of ocean conditions. What's interesting, though, is that there are no lifeguards, and the resort doesn't prevent people from going in the water, and plenty of people have boogie boards. Where did they get them? They had to buy them at the resort store. My wife is coolly convinced that the red flags are a coordinated scheme to sell boogie boards to vacationers and then collect them for free when people have to fly home. The lost cosmonauts. It's not your typical tinfoil hat stuff. This theory has just enough intrigue and historical context to make you wonder, what if? The theory suggests that during the height of the space race, the Soviet Union may have sent cosmonauts into space before Yuri Gagarin, the officially recognized first human in space. But these missions supposedly ended in tragedy, with the cosmonauts either dying in space or upon re-entry, and the Soviet Union covered it up to avoid public embarrassment. Cold War secrecy. The space race was as much about propaganda as it was about scientific achievement. Both the USSR and the USA were playing high-stakes poker with space exploration. Secrecy and disinformation were part of the game. Missing cosmonauts? There are accounts, albeit unverified, of radio transmissions intercepted by amateur radio operators. These transmissions hinted at unsuccessful missions and even stranded cosmonauts, Soviet space triumphs and tragedies. We all know about the USSR's secretive nature and their tendency to only publicize successes. The catastrophic failure of the N-1 moon rocket was kept under wraps for years. Could the same have happened with early human spaceflights? But no concrete evidence. Here's the catch. There's no definitive proof. It's all based on hearsay, circumstantial evidence, and a few eerie recordings. The Soviet archives haven't coughed up any smoking guns yet. So, is it possible that there were lost cosmonauts, victims of the space race, who orbited the Earth in silence and despair? The plausibility lies in the context of the times. A high-pressure race to space, cloaked in secrecy and national pride. It's a theory that, while unconfirmed, isn't entirely outlandish given the era's nature. The impact PFAS chemicals are having on organic life on a global scale, criminally underreported and under-researched. That your phone's microphone is constantly hot and it's listening for keywords to target advertising. Most glaring instance where this happened to me was when I walked into a colleague's office. He had just gotten a standing desk, but one that goes on top of his existing desk rather than a standalone, pun, model. That's important to note. I said, nice standing desk. When did you get that? Thanks, just today, he replied. That was literally all that was said about the desk. We talked about work-related stuff, and as I walked out and checked my phone, there was an ad on Facebook for that exact model of standing desk. I've never owned one, wanted one, or Googled one before, yet there it was on my feed. Tinfoil hat be damned. They listen in. Disney renamed their film The Snow Queen to be Frozen, so when people Google Disney Frozen or Walt Disney's Frozen, they'd get results about an animated movie with a silly snowman and not results about Walt's cryogenically frozen head. Big sock. When I was a kid, we had like 2 or 3 kinds of socks total. White calf, white crew, and black dress. The rich people also had Argyle, but no one else could afford them. Then the secret conglomerates started going crazy. Gray, blue, funky prints. It initially started with those stupid rainbow toe socks and launched from there. And socks sales skyrocketed. Then came the really sneaky part. They convinced people that you don't have to match socks. And their sales really went up. What the hell, man? All we needed was like 4 or maybe 5 types max. Now these super rich assholes are flying helicopters and vacationing in Greece or wherever on that sweet, sweet sock money. Wake up, people. New Coke was never meant to replace Coca-Cola or even be successful. Rather, it was meant to cover the switch from cane sugar to corn syrup. People would be so happy to have classic Coke back that they'd ignore the difference and or not notice the difference due to the time gap. There are a handful of people, likely less than 10, who are so obscenely wealthy the world has no idea they exist. I don't think they secretly run the government or create Illuminati whatever. I just think that after you reach billionaire status, there's little money can't buy, including privacy and anonymity. Chris Penn, the actor who died while choking on a Dorito. Frito-Lay, who owns Doritos, paid a lot of money to cover it up. When Michael J. Fox dies, he will be the final victim of serial killer Robert Pikon. Pikon was a pig farmer in Canada who fed his victims to his pigs to cover up his crimes. Here's the thing. There are some diseases, notably prion diseases, that are notoriously difficult to kill. A pig can eat someone with a prion disease, and that same pig can be butchered and processed and cooked, and the prions will survive. Once you eat the tainted meat, the death clock countdown starts. Prions will multiply in your system. There's no vaccine or cure or treatment. Parkinson's has many symptoms in common with a prion disease. It's a progressively degenerative neural disease. There's some genetic component, but some cases appear out of nowhere. Fox's breakout role was Leo and Me, a short-run Canadian TV show. This show is noteworthy because 4 other people on the set have developed Parkinson's against all known odds. Leo and Me filmed just when Pikon's serial killing was getting started. It cannot be proven, but it is within the realm of possibility that Pikon's tainted pork ended up on the craft services table for Leo and Me and gave the people who ate the sausage rolls or ham and cheese sandwiches prion diseases. Michael Jordan was actually suspended from the NBA for betting or throwing games when he decided to retire and try baseball. Would have absolutely crushed the NBA if the face of the league was exposed for gambling and influencing the outcome of games. Add in his father's suspicious murder, the conspiracy is he was killed by some guy's MJ was involved with gambling. Free education and healthcare will never be available in America because it would cripple recruitment rates to the military. This system was deliberately put in place to ensure and maintain America's military superiority. Not even sure if there is a theory about this, but let me throw this one. Deleting a Facebook, Instagram, Google, whatever account doesn't really delete anything. While your public or publicized information is no longer available to you or others, however, it is still available to Facebook and their partners. In other words, you still exist until XXXX on XXXXXXXXXXX. After that, no new information is available on you. Old information can be used in whatever way desired. As we know, humans tend to follow patterns, so it would be relatively easy to target you via other methods. The same exists for Google. Just because they say they delete your information, it doesn't mean they really do that. You just can't find it. Magic Bullet was one of JFK's Secret Service guys accidentally discharging their weapon during the commotion. That the CIA was heavily involved in the spread and success of modern art as a means to easily create value and move money. Before we had to wait before some dead master gets rediscovered and that their paintings become valuable, but with modern art it was possible to manufacture success. They could use PR, grease a few critics, and all of a sudden they created value. That was perfect to launder money or to avoid controls and checks. The rainbow-haired rapper Tekashi69 was actually a government plant used to get dirt on the rap gangster scene industry. Seriously, there would be nothing special about Daniel Hernandez, but throw some face tats, ridiculous hair, and liberal use of the N-word, and baby, you got a stew. Now in his rise to fame, he had to solidify his street cred, leading him to also join True, a blood gang. So, now both feet are solidly set. This stupid mother pushes fentanyl, is involved in robberies, multiple other felonies, including his previous pedophilia case, which was also controversial. There was also a pretty well-known beef between Chief Keef and Teriyaki69, and Chief Keef, I would assume, could also be a person of interest for the feds. In addition, 69 did a bunch of stupid shit like run up through Keefhood, if I recall correctly, basically daring Keef to react. And anyone with half a brain or who actually grew up in a hood knows how stupid that is, yet nothing happened to 69. Almost immediately after 69 gets taken in on an MFing RICO charge, another well-known rapper, 21 Savage, was arrested for overstaying in the US on an expired visa, which expired when he was 14, if I recall correctly. He has since been released, and the government basically admitted they made a mistake, something which nearly never happens. Then another rapper, YNW Melly, gets arrested for a double homicide, which has its own conspiracy theory as well, which is mostly that Melly is schizophrenic. Now, if all this hasn't or wasn't enough to make you go, 69 is basically getting all charges dropped and will be put into witness protection. For the shit he's accused of, he should first off not be walking away scot-free, let alone witness protection. But he's either snitching on everybody, or this is the government's way of saving face. I'll leave it up to you whether you believe it or not. Pizzagate. The owner of the shop has a lot of really F-ass creepy pictures, along with his Instagram profile pic being a statue of a Greek known for boy loving. Pictures where there's a baby holding money and pill bottles, or a naked guy slathering himself in pizza. They then lied about having a basement when previous info showed they had one. It's an effing pizza parlor, along with the copious use of FBI-identified pedophilia symbols. Spiral triangle, creepy-ass butterfly. Just the Insta posts alone are effing creepy. The Bitcoin investor who died in a region in India where it is well known you can purchase cheap death certificates. Also, apparently to this day, his Litecoin account is still actively trading. Dude made off with like 100 million in Bitcoin. He also married a woman he had only just met a month prior. PETA shit on Steve Irwin just to trigger the internet or meme community to get free exposure and advertising. If you think about it from a marketing perspective, the people who like Steve Irwin are probably not PETA's target group. So catching those who don't like him, for example the type of people who think having an unpopular opinion makes you sound smart, isn't that bad. All the ancestry websites that offer to do cheap DNA testing to see where your family comes from are subsidized by the government to build a DNA database of the population. 100% true. There was a recent news story that the government was getting, or had recently gotten, access to those. If they would have made the tests free, then people would be more suspicious. Yeah. This is one I wholeheartedly believe in when you look at the overall owners of these companies. I would never do that. There's no doubt in my mind that DNA swab is in some type of database. And if they have any nefarious plans, you just gave it away to find out you're 8.2% Scottish. Was it worth it? That 9/11 is an event orchestrated by USA government in order to have a good enough reason to send military to the Middle East. Because economy that is made by war thrives on war. The Russian apartment bombings. It's a key part of Putin's rise to power. He'd just become prime minister when this happened. 4 bombings that killed almost 300 people. He used them as a pretext for war with Chechnya, and off that became president and kept being president. But not long after that last successful bombing, citizens uncovered and stopped the fifth bombing in Ryazan. When police eventually found the perpetrators, they turned out to be agents of the SFB, KGB successor. The agency then claimed it had been in a training exercise, and the massive bombs the men planted were, contrary to their own explosive experts' determination, sacks of sugar. If you don't know what job Putin held before becoming prime minister, he was the head of the FSB. Phantom buzzing. The feeling that your phone in your pocket is buzzing, while it really isn't when you pull it out to check it, but it really was buzzing a bit, a short while, triggered by the carrier or manufacturer or state security agency whenever they need to know what your surroundings look like or who you are with, or if your conversation was spy-worthy, but your voices didn't carry to the pocket clear enough. I get the phantom buzzing all the time. I feel very special.